Now, I began my remarks this morning by saying today is the first day of our sesquicentennial celebration. Today marks the 150th anniversary of the signing of the law that established GPO, Joint Congressional Resolution number 25, signed by President James Buchanan. As you may read in your program, this resolution was the compromise reached by the House and the Senate on the proposal to set up the government printing office. This was seen as the only solution to end the scandals, fraud, and corruption that had plagued the contract system of government printing beginning in the earliest days of the Republic. The resolution directed the Superintendent of Printing to contract for the purchase or construction of suitable buildings, equipment, and materials for the government printing office. Now, we began our work on March 4th, 1861, coincidentally, inauguration day for the next president, Abraham Lincoln. Now, in 1860, Superintendent John Hart concluded negotiations for the purchase of the printing office built by Cornelius Wendell in 1854. The government paid $135,000 for the buildings, equipment, and inventory at the corner of North Capitol and 8th Streets Northwest. And we began our operations with 350 compositors, press operators, bookbinders, and laborers. The men and women of the government printing office have been working from this location ever since. Now, GPO has come a long way since then, providing 150 years worth of service to our nation, bearing witness as history was made, and often being the first recorders of that history. GPO provided the first printing of the Emancipation Proclamation, recorded the results of Western exploration in the Congressional serial set, produced the presidential declarations of war beginning World War I and World War II, handmade the leather covers used on the surrender documents on the battleship Missouri in Tokyo Bay in 1945. We set the type for the UN Charter, recorded the great debates and legislation in the struggle for civil rights, and have produced millions of publications by the government throughout all three branches. GPO printed these documents using a succession of technologies, from handset type to linotype to electronic photo composition. We began using steam-driven presses, then offset presses, and now today, digital presses. We've been binding the documents with some of the oldest as well as the most current technologies. The men and women who did this work, and there were always men and women working side by side, reflected the changing face of the industry as well as the local community. The diversity of GPO's workforce has always evolved, and sometimes GPO had to be dragged into that evolution. But change and expanding opportunity have been constant themes. With this commencement of GPO's 150th anniversary, we will be celebrating 3 interlocking themes. First, the record of the work GPO has produced. Second, the technologies we used to produce it. And third, the men and women who got the job done. Now, GPO continues today as a highly successful operation. I began my week in New York City, where GPO was honored by the American Business Awards, the Stevies, as Organization of the Year. And this is what GPO was presented. Now, what I'm told is that these are actually made by the same company that does the Oscars, and it weighs probably about 15 pounds. Now, this high honor recognized the key role that GPO plays in developing the open and transparent initiatives for the Obama administration. It recognized the launch of FDSys named one of the best websites in government. It recognized the work the plant did in preparing inaugural materials, including President Obama's official photograph. It recognized us helping Speaker Nancy Pelosi with her greening of the Capitol initiatives by printing the Congressional Record on 100% recycled newsprint, as well as the work we've done for the Office of the Federal Register, producing the Federal Register on 100% recycled newsprint. And the work on the Trusted Traveler program cards for the Department of Homeland Security, the Nexus, Sentry, and Fast cards. Also recognized Monday night was Mike Wash, our Chief Information Officer. Mike was named finalist in the IT Executive of the Year category. Mike, where are you? Congratulations. Now, he had tough competition. He was up against Ford, Apple Computer, Microsoft. On this very special day, we are fortunate to have with us David Ferriero, the Archivist of the United States, who, by the way, is tweeting right now. As you know, the archives, along with the Library of Congress, represent our closest partners in the business of keeping America informed. Now, I've asked David to stop by to say a few words, and for those of you that don't know him, let me just share a few things. David S. Ferriero was confirmed as the 10th Archivist of the United States on November 6, 2009. Previously, he served as the Andrew W. Mellon Director of the New York Public Libraries. He was in charge of collection strategy, conservation, digital experience, reference and research services, and education programming and exhibitions. This was when I first met David at New York Public. Prior to joining the New York Public Library, David served in two top positions at two of the nation's major academic libraries. This place called MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and a little college in Durham, North Carolina, Duke. In those positions, he led major initiatives including the expansion of facilities, the adoption of digital technologies, and a re-engineering of printing and publications. He's a graduate of Northeastern University and holds a master's degree from the Simmons College of Library and Information Science, also in Boston. Please join me in welcoming my good friend, David Ferriero.